everyone, today in The Sims 4 I have built a farm that I'm going to share with you. I did this build using a shell challenge. It's actually quite old at this point, it's a few months old, but I really love the build so I still wanted to share it. Okay, so let me just jump into this and show you what I've been working on. So I built this using lilsimsie's llama shell challenge. Like I said, this is quite old. I think it was in about April that this was posted. But yeah, I finished this maybe in like May, and I've just not got around to doing the voiceover now. Yeah, so my overall plan was, because it was like a llama shell, it's meant to look like a llama, I thought I would make a llama farm. Probably not the most inventive idea, I'm sure loads of other people did that, but I just thought it was quite fun. I love a farm, and I've not really used the llamas before, not that I'm planning on really playing in this house, but it just felt fun to like have that in mind while I was building. Now, me personally, I do believe I have to work on my roofing abilities. I am not the best roofer. I feel like I just used the like pitched roof everywhere, but it does get a little bit better with something else I do later. Yeah, and I was debating a lot as to where to put the front, so the roof was taking a while, and I also didn't know which way to orient the house, but I ended up leaving it this way, sort of long ways across the lot, and then I decided to put the front, like the front door, on the side of the build, because I don't usually do that. I usually like to have the front door like visible from the front of the build, so it was like a little bit different for me. And yeah, as I was saying, this build is all about, like, it's a farm and it's obviously llama shaped, so we have llamas in the back. We're also gonna have like a little area for like growing produce, and also in the front I wanted to have a place for like selling the produce as well, so I've put out like a few selling tables and things like that, and I'm just really glad with how it came out. Obviously you can't see this yet, but just sort of giving you an idea of where we're going with this build, because I'm just taking so long deciding on what door, what windows, where to place the door. I think I maybe got out basically every single like door in the game that wasn't just one tile wide. But when we finally jump inside, I did start doing a bit of the floor plan. There is actually a basement to this build as well. The staircase was a bit of a nightmare, but I think I cut it out so you don't have to watch me literally move the stairs a million times. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I'm going to put you through that, not sure. But it was quite hard. Obviously, because it's a shell challenge, it's meant to be a little bit of a challenge. So it was sort of built in a way that the staircase doesn't really fit like you want it to anywhere. That's kind of just like part of the charm and challenge of the shell challenge, you know? And yeah, because of this sort of obviously intentionally weird shape, I sort of ended up with like a lot of sort of small skinny areas, it felt like. So sort of around the staircase there is like a little weird hallway between the staircase and the door. Also downstairs there's like a weird little bump out, which I did try and like sort of use by putting the staircase there, but it just made it just a horrible layout, so I just didn't go for that. But yeah, there's this weird little bump out in the basement, which I end up making into like a walk-in wardrobe kind of thing. Yeah, it's like a really weird skinny 2-tile long area. Very odd, but I decided to use the Dream Home Decorator stuff to sort of build in like a wardrobe area. It's sort of kind of a walk-in wardrobe, kind of not, because it's not like there's no door, it's just sort of a nook in the corner, but I thought that was a bit of a inventive way to do it. And yeah, maybe kind of controversially, I did decide to have the bedroom downstairs in the basement. I know loads of people like absolutely will not do that, because I guess in real life it's not most ideal to have your bedroom be in the basement, no windows, but I kind of think it doesn't matter. Like, these are the kind of people who aren't going to be spending much time in their bedroom, I don't think. They're hard at work on the farm. And then this is something that I really wanted to do, like before I'd even started the build. I wanted to have like an old section of the house, because I think you see that a lot in farmhouses, where there's like an older area, like where it used to be, maybe even just like a shepherd's hut kind of looking thing, but then a whole farmhouse has been built out since then. Maybe even there's a few different sections from like different eras. I feel like that happens kind of a lot. So I decided to add that on. So we've got like a column to differentiate the parts. There's a different wallpaper. This is where the roof line got a bit more interesting. I decided to make the roof a bit lower, so we got a bit more dimension going on there. Yeah, I really liked that, and that was something I was really like adamant I was gonna include in the build, because I just like, I don't know, it made it a little bit more interesting, made it maybe a bit more realistic, it gave it a bit more character, which is I just think something I love about farmhouses is how much like character and history they usually have. It also allowed me to experiment with different foundations. This isn't something I've really done before, like having multiple different foundations on one build. It was kind of confusing because they were kind of messing up a little bit dependent on where the internal walls were, but once I figured it out, it was actually really cool, and I think it really lends that little bit more detail to the build. Yeah, and you will see at some point after I've done the patio, I start just grabbing out like a whole bunch of different items. I sort of just started scrolling through like clutter and different like parts of the build catalogue and just getting out a bunch of different things that I thought would help me later. A lot of different signs and things like that, some crates, little different bits and bobs that I didn't want to like forget that we had because I knew that I'd want to use them later. Sort of gave me a bit of inspiration for where I was going. And obviously I know it's because llamas came with cottage living, but it's just so pleasing how many like llama signs there are. It's like obviously really helpful for when you're trying to make a llama build. So yeah, I was very happy to find those. So you will have seen I already started doing a bit of a layout inside, like throwing down a few different bits of furniture. It's all just placeholder, it's just so I sort of had an idea of what would fit where, just making sure, because sometimes I don't have a great perception of what actually fits in like how many tiles, like sometimes my brain just can't compute. So I like to like place some stuff out so that I know it will definitely fit. But anyway, when I went inside and started like fully actually furnishing, I decided to start on the kitchen. Now this is quite a big build and I decided to like tuck the kitchen in this little corner because I just love the idea of kind of a cramped little kitchen. Maybe this is a bit of a hark back to a different time in the like farmhouse's history. Maybe it like was a little bit more closed off, or you know, maybe it was just a bit of a smaller building, like who knows. But I just kind of love the idea of it being like a cute little cramped kitchen, so I was quite excited to start with that one. And then when I started placing out different wallpapers, it's where I sort of got the idea that I was going to go for quite like an eclectic style in this house. It was sort of the moment I decided, yeah, this is going to be sort of lots of hand-me-down vibes, like lots of different colours, different patterns. Nothing is like intentionally matchy-matchy. It's all a little bit like mishmash put together, which again I think lends to this idea of maybe it's an old place, lots of people have redecorated over the years and different things like that. I kind of have the idea that maybe the people who live here are sort of like a slightly younger couple, maybe they got the farm off of an older couple who couldn't like keep up with it anymore, and like maybe they had a lot of the old furniture from them, and it's just got that vibe of like a lot of like hand-me-downs, a lot of thrifted stuff. Yeah, so you'll see like there's two different sofas, so it's like it's fully like not matching but like intentionally, and I hope it comes across that way because that was actually fully my intention. And this is kind of a style that I like to do, mostly because it's kind of something that I personally like in real life, so I do kind of lean towards that a lot in my builds. But I think it's also, it's kind of lazy in a way because it's like it's very easy in a way to intentionally make stuff not match. Whereas obviously in this game you don't always have the exact same colours, exact same swatches, so it can actually be harder to try and mix and match stuff but make it look like it's matching, if you get what I mean. And one of my favourite ways to implement this kind of style is to do all different chairs around the dining table. I don't know in real life how you would even come to this. I guess if you moved into a house with maybe like 1 or 2 chairs and then eventually you like built up more, because maybe you're just a couple but then you over the time get a few more chairs for when you obviously have guests and things. I don't know. Not personally something I've done, but I always think it looks really good. It just brings me joy. And I don't know about you, but I found that there was something just so fun about having the diagonal dining table in here. I originally wanted to do a circular dining table, but it didn't really fit. I thought that would be like the exact kind of right vibes for this house, but something about it felt off. So I went for like regular rectangle table, but having it diagonal really just, it hit something in my brain. Like something about it just really worked for me. I don't know, maybe it's sort of like a weird thing to just be like obsessed over, but I don't know, kind of obsessed. I also in this house tried really, really hard not just to use those like basic like small disc lights that we have in the base game, because I always default to them. They are kind of just the best light in the game. They sort of like actually have the best lighting and they're not obstructive to like gameplay and things like that, but I really wanted to actually use a few different like lights, chandeliers, things like that, because it's just more realistic. And I think for the style I was going for, you just wouldn't have these like small disc spotlights. So I went for a few of those cottage living, like, I don't know if you'd call it a chandelier. Chandelier in my mind is like a sparkly fancy crystal kind of thing, but it's got the 3 lights, you know, you've seen it. you know what I'm talking about. So I used that a few times and I've used a few different things and it works. I'm overthinking the light situation, but I overthink everything, so. And then I moved downstairs and I really didn't want the bedroom, even though it was in the basement, to be open to the upstairs. So I made this little like reading small library kind of area at the bottom of the staircase and then added a wall into the bedroom. And you'll see I made this like custom bookshelf sort of thing because it was a weird amount of tiles and nothing really fit, and I went through loads of different bookshelves and I ended up doing 2 of the same on either side and then a different one in the middle. Very reasonably matching wood swatches, not exactly, but close enough. And yeah, they just fit really nicely together and it's just, I was kind of proud of that. Felt very big brain of me. And then I truly took so long to clutter this all up. I mean, I actually don't know how long in real life. Like, I wouldn't deny myself saying it was maybe even close to an hour that I was like cluttering up the bookshelves because I was alt placing everything and doing this and doing that, changing my mind of what to be where, and I just can't help myself. I love a bit of clutter, and especially in a house like this, it just feels so right. If you're going for a more like modern minimalist vibe, then it obviously, you can get away with just doing sort of like less clutter, keeping it very simple. But in like an old farmhouse with this eclectic sort of vibe, you're gonna have a lot of knickknacks, a lot of things, built up bookcases, and loads of stuff in the little nooks and crannies. It fit the vibe and that works for me because I'm obsessed with cluttering, so it just made sense. But yeah, I actually love how this room turned out. It's very cozy vibes. We've got the 2 little armchairs, a sort of like his and hers kind of thing. Not that that matters, but you know what I mean. It actually kind of gives me Carl and Ellie vibes from Up. That was not my intention at all, but looking at it, I've just realised that's kind of what it looks like, which I shall not complain about. Absolutely obsessed. But yeah, I just love the cozy vibes I've come up with down here because it is all cluttered and there's the bookshelves and we've got like a nice big clock and a gallery wall. I just love this. I know I would love to sit down here and have a little read of my book. That would be great. Or scroll on my phone. Realistically, yeah, do my little editing down there. I'd be obsessed. And now the bedroom was sort of an area that I struggled with a little bit. This was another situation in which I maybe got out every single item in the game for the bedside tables because it's a very, very tight space. I always do this. I build bedrooms that are like 3 tiles across and then try and put a double bed in there. And it does work. But you need like really teeny tiny bedside tables, and most of the bedside tables in this game are absolutely massive. So I went through literally every single one trying to find the small ones and then deciding which one I felt like matched the best. And I landed on this one that's got like little metal detailing on the side because it sort of matches the bed frame. Again, overthinking to the extreme. Like I don't even really realize when I'm doing it, but when I talk through like what I've been thinking when I'm building, I'm like, Ellie, chill. It's just really not that deep. It's a bedside table. Find one that fits and chuck it in, you know? But yeah, this is where I was working a little bit more on that like walk-in wardrobe that I was talking about. Yeah, it was really cute, and obviously, of course, I couldn't help myself but clutter it up as well. And something I went for in the bedroom actually to help with that sort of eclectic vibe I've been going on about is I decided to have 2 different bedside lamps. That's something I've actually not done before. I always do like the different chairs around the dining table. I've done that before, but I've never done the different bedside lamps. I thought that was quite cute because especially lamps, obviously people who love their interior design probably go out specifically, get 2 lamps that match. There you go. But I can imagine myself ending up with like 2 different lamps on either side of the bed just because it's like, oh, I had one already and then we just went and got another one. That's me. Maybe am I living out my dream farm life through this house? Maybe. Do I imagine myself living here? Maybe I do with my llamas. I've never thought about having llamas. If I ever dream about having a farm, I cannot say I've ever thought about owning llamas. Chickens, yes, absolutely. Cows, I would love to. Actually, turns out I'm scared of cows. Didn't realise how, I mean, I'm a vegan and I'm scared of cows. What the hell? Maybe that's why it's like, well, I couldn't possibly hunt a cow. They're terrifying. I don't know. Anyway, rambling. Oh yeah, I think I just clocked. I don't know if that was just now or maybe I saw something that I'd placed earlier. I decided at some point during the cluttering phase that I was gonna have these people own a cat and a dog. And I think I had to go upstairs and like retroactively like fit in like some pet stuff, because I decided to have a little cat statue and a little dog statue. And I always do that. I use those statues and I pick the swatch and imagine that they have the dog that looks like that cat or dog, which again is probably the most overthinking vibes in the world. But yeah, that's what I did. So, and it kind of made sense. I don't know why I hadn't decided to have pets from the get-go. But yeah, I went for like a little ginger cat, and then I think it was like the Rottweiler kind of dog, which I think actually is just the cutest combo. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. I do. And I felt while I was building this that I was really trying to walk the line of making it not seem that there was like an old couple living here. Not that it really matters, you could have anyone living here. But like I said earlier, I kind of imagine them being a slightly younger couple, maybe like 30s, I don't know. But like, yeah, I don't know, I had this vision of them being a slightly younger couple, maybe just starting out in their farming business sort of thing. So yeah, or maybe they've sort of taken over the business from someone else. But yeah, those were my vibes. I hope that comes across. But it is very like old lady kind of vibes in here as well. But I know I like that, so I know other younger people in the world must like that. I'm not even in my 30s, so what you gonna do? I can't even necessarily represent the people that I'm claiming to be like. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm really rambling here. And in this build, I actually for once decided to use ceiling paint. I sort of like forget ceiling paint exists a lot, but I feel like in a cozy little cottage farmhouse kind of thing like this, you've gotta have wooden ceilings. It's just the rules. And then I really wanted to include in this build like a full utility laundry room kind of thing. Really felt right for this kind of thing. Like if you're working on the farm, you need a good place to be washing your clothes, you know? But yeah, so I used like a whole bunch of laundry day stuff. Really went in on that. Used the like non-functional stuff from For Rent as well. So like the boiler and like the electricity box. And I thought that made for like a really cute utility room. It's very good vibes. And I had the laundry room kind of coming off of this like shed mudroom kind of area. I decided to have this bit in the like oldest section of the house that I'd made look really different from the outside. And yeah, I just had so much fun in this room as well, looking for different shelving and things like this, because we have so many items in this game that look really good for like sheds and sort of workshops, is what I'm trying to say. And I like the vibes that it's sort of like a mud room, and then obviously you'd come in here, maybe take off your boots, throw your dirty clothes in the laundry room, and then you could go into the house. That was the vision. That was the vibes. And then of course, like every other single room in the entire house and every build I ever make, I cluttered it up to the nines. I had like a pet carrier in here that I put on like the top shelf. I had dog food. I had like a bunch of shoes, and like I said, just a whole bunch of shelving as well. And actually one of these I think is from Strangerville because it's got like a gas mask on it. Now that's kind of not the vibes. That's kind of creepy, but I just tried to ignore that. I kind of just fully blanked it out, pretended it wasn't there. But yeah, I even went as far as I got one of these like little plant tables, sort of like, it's not the flower arranging table, I've got that outside actually. I don't know, I think it's sort of just a decorative garden table, and I put some like the seed packets on it. I have a lot of fun with things like this. I'm really not always very imaginative, but sometimes when I get building, that's really just where my imagination sort of flourishes, which is quite nice. It's sort of nice to have a creative outlet. I feel like lots of people use The Sims like for that. And then when I went outside, I started working on that like front patio kind of area. It's very small. I ended up just putting like 2 little chairs out there so you could just sit and chill. Yeah, so it's nothing too crazy, some lights, but this was prime overthinking time. I changed everything out there so many times. The railing, the staircase, the lights, probably even the chairs. Every single thing that went into this, I changed. Probably the floorboards as well, I'm pretty sure. Because actually there is a flooring in this game, and it's one of the like very basic wood floors, but in the light it like shines almost gold, and it icks me so bad. I hate it. So like every time I want to use it, because it's like a really nice colour, I just end up not being able to because it looks so bad in the daytime. But yeah, once I'd worked on the patio, that's sort of when I started working on the whole exterior. I was sort of moving around the house, trying to figure out where to put it on the lot, and this is when I started taking advantage of all of those bits that I had left to the side, like the few different signs and stuff. I started getting the selling tables and setting it up. I actually used that little like nook in what would be like the llama's sort of back and neck area. Very weird to describe it like that. But yeah, I used that area for sort of like the selling area. I put this big fence around the outside, or I guess it's a brick wall, all around the perimeter, so it's like you've got this nice sign and people would come in up to the selling tables and then maybe they could go out to the back and look at the llamas. Yeah, very cute. Not that I've even got to the llamas yet, but they will be at the back. Yeah, so I set out this whole farm area and I had one side for the produce, so I was thinking they could obviously grow like, I don't know, vegetables, maybe flowers, fruits, who knows, a whole bunch of stuff. I set out a bunch of those little like tilled earth kind of plots, which I think is always really nice. I know that you obviously can just plant in the ground, but I think basically whenever I do gardening, I have those little plots because I just think it really makes it that little bit extra. Do you know what I'm trying to say? But yeah, so I had that side, and then the other side is going to be where like the llama sheds go. I don't know if you've noticed, I had a bit of trouble with the chimney. It kept deleting itself, like the actual chimney item, for like loads of different reasons. I felt like sometimes it would even be that I like changed the wallpaper and then it disappeared. I know that can happen with Move objects sometimes, but yeah, it was just a little bit odd. So I had to like keep going back in, changing it. And then I actually ended up changing the wallpaper on the chimney, which I loved. It added like a little bit of extra definition because I felt like it was feeling really plain across the front, so I'm glad I went back and did that. But yeah, you can see that I sort of set up the selling area and did a bunch of terrain paint all around to make this nice path. I wanted it to seem like there was a clear sort of way to go, but it wasn't like a too distinctive path. Yeah, but then I was working on the llama area, sort of paddock space in the back, and I wanted to really go out with the terrain paint, make it look a bit muddy. I put a bunch of hay bales in there, and then I also used these bucket items. I'm pretty sure they're from Cottage Living, and I sized them up because at this point I didn't have horse ranch, so I would have liked to use like the troughs and stuff for like obviously where they'd eat, drink, whatever, but I didn't have those, so I decided to just give each shed 2 huge buckets as if it's where they would have their feed and their water. Which actually is kind of realistic in a way, so I did quite like it. And I do love in this game having to be a bit like using your ingenuity, I think the word is. I don't know why I'm just deciding to say that instead of something easier. But yeah, using some different things. Do you get what I'm saying? I feel like whenever I do these speed builds, I sort of like lose the plot a bit. I start like rambling so much and I become aware of the fact that I'm rambling, but I kind of can't stop myself. But yeah, and last sort of final touches was to add some trees around the perimeter. You also see that all of my landscaping was very sort of lush, a little bit overgrown, nothing too set in stone, so to say. But yeah, so I'm finishing up the build now, so I'm going to jump into the game and give you a little tour so that we can see it sort of in more detail. Because I feel like it can be hard to see everything when we're like whizzing around. Okay, so this is the front look at the finished build. So yeah, it's very green. I know Henford on Bagley in general is just pretty green overall, like the lighting's kind of green, but this is, this takes it to another level. So yeah, we come in under this little sign there and we come into the sort of selling area. I've got a bunch of sort of stock behind the table, and obviously you can actually sell things from these tables, so that's cool. And then you come around this way, follow the path, and this is the front patio. I'll just continue on with the exterior of the build first. So you come around here and this is that little like produce growing area. This is like very helpful for gameplay. I think this would be very nice to have all of that space set aside. And then you have here, this is the floral arranging table, and then this is just another sort of decorative gardening table. I thought these would be nice to have, and then there is also a hose as if you're gonna like, you know, water the plants, of course. And like I said, this is all of the sort of like nice green, lush, overgrown but looked after sort of landscaping. That was sort of the vibes I was going for. And then you come around and this is the area for the llamas. I added in a bunch of this grass. Again, if I had had horse ranch at the time of building this, I probably would have put like prairie grass here or something. Not that that's necessarily functional if you have llamas here, but you could easily switch it out for horses or something. I don't know. It just would have been nice to have, is all I'm saying. And then you come over here, round this way. I added in like a little like wood hut thing, and then this is the this is the inaccessible entrance to the back. I completely forgot to put a staircase here. Hold on. Maybe in that colour's better for him. But yeah, there you go, a staircase. I didn't think this area particularly needed a railing or anything. Maybe that's no good, but I think it looks fine like that. But I did forget the staircase. But yeah, if you come in this way, then you would come into this sort of shed area I was talking about. Got like a little place for some gardening items, and then, like I said, a whole bunch of stuff for like pets. We've got the decor box, little gardening table, just a whole bunch of storage and stuff like that. So this isn't really the most functional room for actual gameplay, but it does look very cute. So there you go. And then in here is the laundry utility room, which I'm very happy with. I think it looks very cute. And then you come through into the main section of the house. I really love this deep plum purple colour on the walls. But yeah, here's the cozy little living room area, and then you go through, we've got our pet stuff here, come through into the sort of kitchen dining room area. Obviously there is the staircase here to go down to the basement, which we will see in a minute. But if you go over here, this is where we have the bathroom, which I feel like I did quite quickly, and it sort of like sped past in the build. But yeah, it's like sort of yellow and green. It's very like fancy, but I really like it. I love the diagonal tub. Yeah, this was actually maybe one of my like favorite rooms to do. It sort of came together in a really nice way. But yeah, if you come back through here, we get to the staircase and we can go down. This is our nice cozy little reading area with all of the clutter you could ever want in your life. I actually love this. This is one of those little like snack boxes. I love the idea of sitting here and just having a little snack tray. Got like the little mug and books on the side, very cute. And then if we go through here, this is the bedroom. So we've got the little sort of like getting ready area, little vanity, place to put on your shoes, things like that. We have the wardrobe over here, which I just think is a very nice little touch. I did squeeze in this. I don't know if they can actually use this when it's like so close to another wall. But yeah, maybe not, but I think it looks cute, so I sort of went for it anyway. Got the dresser and then the sort of sleeping area. I don't know what else to call that. But yes, that is the whole build. I hope you liked it. This was actually really fun for me. This is one that I sort of just worked on in like my spare time. Like whenever I had like 30 minutes, an hour or something, I'd sit down and like do a little bit of extra work on it. So it took me like a few sessions to do, but yeah, it was a bit of a labor of love. I really enjoyed it. But yes, on that note, I am done here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more content from me, then please do subscribe to the channel. This build will also be on the gallery. I'm just going to post it now. So if you're interested in downloading it, then please do. My gallery name is just EllieIsobelPrice. And yeah, this was fun. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!